Hello everyone, and welcome to the tavern. I know I've said this joke before, but screw it. It must be a day that ends in Y because WotC did something stupid. This time, we have a really weird controversy, because there is the one that's blowing up online, and then there's the real problem. And I believe that the one that's blowing up online is something of a smokescreen. Before we go too far into this subject, let me at least explain something very important. It is the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons, and of course WotC has dropped the ball hard. And one of the big ways they've dropped the ball is with their minis pack. Conceptually, the idea of a 50th anniversary pack of minis sounds great. We get all these characters designed off of some of the most iconic creatures, characters, and monsters of the various Dungeons & Dragons multiverse. That's all great. In fact, the set is supposed to have about 50 different minis, some of which are secret ones that they haven't revealed. Now, it is unclear whether that 10 is part of the 50, or if there are 60 total. It would make more sense for those secret 10 to be part of the 50, just so you're at 50 as a total number. 50 minis, 50 years, but this is WotC, so who the hell knows? But unfortunately, they've never made it particularly clear what it is. Every source I read says something different. The big problem with this, of course, is that things are done in mystery box style. Or excuse me, booster box style. So you don't know what you're going to get when you buy a box. Which means you could get minis you'll never use because they happen to be in there. Not only that, but you also have the possibility of getting dupes. What am I going to do with like 3 dwarven bards? Anyhow, this is where the controversy really begins. One of the most iconic characters in all of D&D is the Red Box Warrior. The Red Box is the beginner's box for Dungeons & Dragons. TSR made an original version of this, and there has been new versions produced by WotC over the years. One of the parts of this artwork is referred to as the Red Box Warrior, a warrior on the cover who you don't get to see the face of. It's designed to kind of be the faceless protagonist that you, the player, can envision yourself as. The artwork is definitely inspired by that Frazetta style that is mostly associated with things like Conan, and so most people believe the Red Box Warrior is a male because it looks like a male. However, this is 2024, so if you think we're getting a male version of the Red Box Warrior, you are greatly mistaken. It is a female, because of course it is. Because we live in 2024 where everything has to be a female, we can no longer have strong male characters. And I'm not going to get into a whole rant of that. I'll just say that I don't think this was a good idea. Not only am I in the same camp as many people who have always believed this to be a male character, and I believe that is the intention of the original artist, but also the fact that by doing this, you're just giving in to the stupid, woke BS that has been such a prevailing miasma over entertainment for years now. The funny thing is, if they offered a male and female version of this character, I wouldn't care. However, as far as we know, there is only the female version, which, again, feels a little bit insulting to both the original artist and to the fans of the game, especially those of us who were playing during the TSR era. That being said, it is my personal belief that this is a smokescreen to hide something bigger. I feel that this is a way of setting the stage so that if this product fails, they can blame toxic fans. You know toxic fans, those people who've been supporting a franchise for years, but then when they start changing everything about a franchise, get a little bit upset because people originally liked that franchise for its existing attributes. And changing everything, especially when you talk about how the original version was bad and those who liked it were bad, might upset people just a little bit. In fact, it tends to piss people off when they're told, hey, that thing you love, that was bad and you're bad for liking it. Which is often what we get when a new company takes over a product and just craps all over it because they don't have the love and the years and the investment of money and time into that IP. They just want to milk it for whatever and change it to fit their personal, usually political, beliefs. And when you disagree with any of the new insane changes they've made to your favorite IP, you get branded a toxic fan, when the truth is, all you wanted was your game or your show or your series that you've always loved to just get improvements and expansions over time that don't radically change what it was in the first place. And frankly, I think That's what they're doing here. I think this whole female warrior thing is to find an excuse in case the product fails to blame the toxic fans. Hear me out. The current way we've seen this product for sale is in a box of 8 boxes that costs almost $200. Now, each of those boxes contains 4 figures, 3 smaller minis and 1 bigger mini. I'm fine with that. But again, these are blind boxes, booster boxes, and if you do the math, 4 times 8 is 32, meaning there are not enough minis in the $200 box of boxes to give you the entire set. This would mean you would have to buy 2 $200 sets in order to acquire every single mini if you're that kind of hardcore collector. And that is assuming that you don't get loaded up with a bunch of duplicates that end up forcing you to buy a third one, possibly spending $600 in the vain hopes of collecting all 50 or possibly 60 of these minis. Now, if these boxes were released individually at $25 a piece, that could be a fine impulse buy. I could see myself at a game store going, you know what, screw it, I'll grab one of these, whatever. If I get stuff I don't like, meh. But dropping $200 in the hopes that I get stuff I really want, and the worry that I could get a bunch of dupes, that ain't happening. And I don't think there's a lot of players out there who are willing to drop $200 for 32 minis, with probably a chunk of those being duplicates, because why would you? Not only that, but this process opens up a huge door to scalpers. Because what happens when scalpers buy a few of these sets and they just rip them all open? They find the characters or monsters that people would really want, and they throw those things up on eBay for an exorbitant profit. And there's nothing that I know of that WotC can do to prevent this. So we're in a position where either you shell out the money and hope for the best, or you shell out more money and give it to some disgusting scalper who happens to get the character or monster you've been looking for. Now, I'm not saying there aren't some whales out there. I hate the fact that I have to use mobile game terms. But while there might be some whales out there, it's not going to be enough to make this a successful product. Because I think way more people are in my category going, you want me to spend $200 on minis? Screw that! And that's coming from someone who dropped almost $200 on the BattleTech Kickstarter. Because at least with that, I also got a bunch of books and game rules and a whole bunch of other things, not just 32 minis. Speaking of BattleTech, it does cost $25 for a box of 4 robots, or $30 for a box of 5. However, it's a windowed box. I know what I'm getting. Not only am I getting those 4 mechs, I'm getting 4 pilot cards that are 2-sided, so that's 8 different possible pilots, and 4 mech cards that can be used in Alpha Strike that are also double-sided, meaning I have some options for whatever gameplay style I prefer to do. And if I need specific mechs, I know what box to buy. BattleTech does have blind boxes, but they run for about $6 a piece. And essentially, you're just going to get 1 random mech. But they're designed for impulse buys. I've only ever gotten one of these, it was a gift, but it wasn't dropping $25 on 4 random things. It was $6 for 1 random unit, and that was acceptable. It was a gift. But if I was at a store myself, I could see that as generally acceptable. The problem is, with this, you're paying a lot of money for randomness. And that just doesn't work, because there's just too much variance in terms of what you could be getting. When it comes down to it, I feel there are more people in my belief set of I don't want to spend $200 on randomness than there are people who will get really excited over dropping that kind of money on random minis. The sad part is, there's no surprise here. Of course, Wizards is trying to find ways to screw over their customer. Of course, Wizards is charging a lot of money for a product that we don't even get to see. And the thing is, I don't hate blind boxes. At conventions, I've picked up blind boxes of various anime minis over the years. But usually, on the side it'll tell you, hey, there's these 6 characters in here, and maybe like a secret character. So at least I know what series it's from, what characters I could possibly get, and as long as I like all those characters, I'll go and grab the box. Heck, I had a time where me and a couple of friends all grabbed 2 boxes apiece, and one of us got a character the other one wanted, so we traded. It was fun. It was nice. And that kind of thing is a fun core memory you can enjoy at a convention if you have a couple of friends who are all into the same series. While it might be possible to do that with these sets, $25 is still a lot of money for a blind box, assuming they release it as a $25 booster box. instead of the $200 version. I can tell you right now, there's no way me and a few friends are all dropping $200 on minis. That's not happening anytime soon. My friends can't afford that, and neither can I. You can tell that the idea was based off of trying to exploit the booster pack concept from Magic the Gathering. However, I'll have you know that a booster sleeve costs like $3 to $5 depending on the set you're looking for. Hell, starter packs cost $20 or less. In order to get into Magic the Gathering, it's a significantly smaller financial investment versus grabbing randomized minis. And while yes, it is always possible that your booster sleeve of Magic the Gathering cards doesn't give you anything you really want, but at least you could put some of those dupes to work in a potential second deck. Most of my friends into Magic the Gathering have probably about 7 or 8 decks. Probably more, honestly, I never actually asked. But the price is low enough that if I dropped $10, $15, I would have a lot of packs to open up and sort through and put to use in the various decks I'm building, versus dropping $25 and hoping I get some minis that I could actually use on the tabletop at some point, and not weird monsters that will almost never come up, or character classes that serve no purpose, or worse yet, some of the important story characters who I'll probably never use on the tabletop, and at best they can just sit on my desk alongside some of my other action figures. Overall, this is just a terrible way of doing this. If they had released multiple boxes, maybe 5 boxes that have 10 characters apiece at a decent price, they're windowed so you know exactly what you're getting, no one would be complaining about this. In fact, right now, so many people are distracted by the female red box warrior that no one is complaining about the price or the loot box BS that's going on with this release. That to me is the bigger problem. This is the disease that has been rotting away at Wizards of the Coast. What you're doing is releasing an inferior product with a high price point that the average person will not jump into because there's nothing to incentivize us to do so. So, they release a controversial mini as part of that set and upset a bunch of people online so that when the time comes and this product fails, they can go and say, oh, toxic fans hate the women, so they decided not to buy the entire set over one thing. It didn't have anything to do with the $200 price tag. And we all know that that is just a lie. It's the price tag, not one mini, that would prevent people from buying this. I can only hope that you, savvy listener, will not be buying this box set either. Don't waste your $200 that way when there are plenty of people who produce original minis that really deserve your dollar more than Wizards of the Coast. As always, fight the good fight, because if you don't, who will? Until next time, let me know in the comments what you think about this box set. Have a great day, and I'll see you at the tavern.